S-S-D-P-P. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Rested and recovered from All-Star Weekend. It was a great time here in Toronto, and the ratings in Canada were up significantly, and they were down significantly in the States, which proves again the point that All-Star Weekend is a localized event.
Local.
And we're not even going to get it next year. We're getting the Four Nations Cup, as announced, at the All-Star Weekend. So I don't know when the All-Star Weekend is coming back, but it's not going to be for at least a couple years.
Yeah, because the year after that's Olympics.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long time.
And then, like, maybe there's an All-Star game in between the year in between the World Cup and the Olympics, because it's supposed to be like Olympics, 2 years World Cup, 2 years Olympics, 2 years World Cup.
So this was the send-off. One thing I heard from a couple of people about this weekend in Toronto was that it felt like it was back. Like the city was alive again, because a lot of people have been complaining, like, since the pandemic, Toronto's been kind of dead in terms of its nightlife scene. But this weekend was like, oh my God, everyone's out. There's something going on all the time. Everybody was out till God knows what time in the middle of the night. And it was a lot of fun this week.
Like us.
Yeah.
We all remember how we got home.
Shout out to everybody that came to all the events. Obviously, we had over 500 people over the course of 2 days, which is pretty amazing. And then everybody that went to Isabel's afterwards to hang out with us and have some drinks and watch it turn into a club. And there's a few people there at the end of the night who, when I was leaving, they still had their jerseys on and they were partying and making out and sweating. They're like, well, it was a great time. And I'm like, yes.
Shout out the two guys who came in from Nova Scotia for the All-Star Weekend and everything, and they were like, we have tickets to the game, but like the main thing was went to the rec room both days, and that was their most fun. And they were like, I was like, oh, so when are you guys going back? And they're like, we don't know, because there's a storm going on.
Yes, so the pictures are crazy.
We might be here for a couple extra days.
Did they say what part of Nova Scotia they're in? Like, if they're Cape Bretoners, they're not getting back for a week.
Right, I don't remember.
Okay. Have you seen the pictures?
Yes, and if they could send some of that here, like if we could take on some of the burden.
I don't know, man. It's sunny and like 10 degrees outside today.
Yeah, why would you want
Why do you want that? This
because
is great.
Every day I check the weather app and I'm like, we're all going to die. But also,
we're all going to die anyway.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's true.
Friday is supposed to be like 8 degrees. I could golf in that. Like and it's mid-February, early February.
I think
right?
there were rumors yesterday that some golf courses were talking about opening for a couple of days. Next week's supposed to be cold.
Dude, there's trees in my neighborhood that are like starting to bud. It's February.
Yeah, I know.
We're all dying.
Okay.
Well, I'll get there.
We're all we can talk about the fun weekend. No, we're gonna die.
Can't enjoy anything.
We're gonna die.
How dare you have fun?
We need to have.
How dare you?
We need to have an intro whenever Steve does this, Jesse, with called Worst Case Scenario with Steve Dangle, and we'll just give him a fun scenario, and he can tell you how you'll die or how it could go wrong.
No, worst case Ontario, and get a big sticker for your truck.
There you go.
But Steve, you are right. We're all dying.
Yeah.
But
let's go down. Let's go down having fun.
No,
if we're gonna go down with the ship, we might as well have a good time on the way down, don't you think? You know
what were we talking about?
We're talking about this All-Star Weekend. I want to say, a big shout out to The Athletic and ESPN for lending their talent.
Yes.
In Mark Lazarus, Down Goes Brown. I hadn't met Sean McIndoe. It was nice to meet him. I don't think I'd ever met him.
Me neither. No, first time. Yeah.
And then of course Greg Wyshynski was there as well. That panel was great. Got rave reviews from people who were there, and obviously comments on the internet, which is crazy because nothing gets rave reviews with comments on the internet.
No, I still got to watch these panels back because
they're good.
You couldn't hear it from the green room, and we were preparing for our own thing, and we did CJ show twice.
Yeah.
In a way. And
Alan Walsh, I think, he was the lead event. And I got to tell you, we were talking beforehand, and I'm like, so, like, do you have anything that you want to hit? He's like, don't worry. And I was like, okay.
Everyone
says that,
really embraced it.
Yeah.
CJ. So I started hitting CJ beforehand, like with, is anything off limit? Is that it? And he was like, stop. I want you to surprise me. And so I was like, all right, I got something for you. And I just let the crowd do what I assumed they all wanted to do. And who's getting traded? Name names. And he did the CJ 1 through 8 scale, like smart insider man.
I like that.
And
I haven't seen that panel. I need to watch that one.
That's a good little segment.
I like that.
There were a few surprising 6, 7s, and 8s.
Really? Yeah. All right. Well, you can name them now. It's been a couple of days. Oh, you forget them. Okay. Now,
but
Jesse,
I was surprised. I remember that.
Jesse, as the head of production, as somebody who sees every panel, sees every minute that goes to air, I would like to know from you, what was the
What's
highlight
your
of
problem?
What's your
sorry.
highlight of your weekend, sir?
I thought you were doing all the thank yous because you thank the people from The Athletic and the ESPN. But yeah, I'll answer your question in a way where I can get out the thank yous.
Get a thank you.
Yeah, because I think my favorite part was Sid Sixero.
Oh my
Easily
God.
on the Friday.
So
Sid
much
came
fun.
out and did half of our set on Friday night, which was fantastic. Your mom, Marilyn Dennis, was there on Saturday,
Yeah, she
which
was
was
pretty cool.
unbelievable.
Thanks to your mom.
For her to lend her time to come out and do that and then hang around for the whole event, really, and then even a little into the meet and greet was just really heartwarming to see that. Like, she's willing to do all that. That was very nice, very kind of her, because she's a very busy woman, and doing that was unbelievable. And she was fantastic on stage. You're like, who would have thought Adam and his mom would have great chemistry on it?
Crazy. It's crazy.
She's got a future.
And then also Cam Stewart
Yes.
and Drew Livingstone came up on stage, even though the internet, you guys, Drew, yes, he was there and he was great. Okay.
It's
Be
okay.
nice to him.
It's okay that somebody disagrees with the way you think.
Yeah.
It's okay.
He has different opinions. Oh.
He bathed in the booze like it was warm water.
Absolutely.
Cam did not understand how the newlywed game worked. And we explained it to him beforehand. And then we explained it to him again. And when we got up on stage, he still did not know how it worked. But that is the nature of Cam.
That's the magic.
That is
Cam.
the magic of Cam.
Cam is so I can't remember if I've met him in person. It screws me up with the internet. Like, I've known about him for years and years and years, and I'm like, okay, so this is the first time I've spoken to this person. He's like, hey, oh yeah, good to meet you. Like this event, yeah, this venue's great. You're thicker than I thought. And I'm like, you just called me fat like 8 seconds into meeting me.
He tells a wonderful story about how he used to own a horse.
Really?
Yeah, he owned a horse at one point. And
Yes, he did.
So yeah, if you go watch it back, he talks about how he's like, it used to cost me $3,000 a week, and then I couldn't afford it anymore, so we had to get rid of the horse. And the one time the horse won, I couldn't even be there, and I didn't even get to see the horse. And we didn't get to celebrate, and I wasn't there.
Wow.
So yeah, $3,000 a week to feed the horse.
He came up
He had
to
to
me.
give it up.
He's like, you didn't tell me your mom was a vandal. And I'm like, you mean where she went to school? He's like, yeah, she went to school in Idaho, University of Idaho, and their team is the Vandals. And I said, yeah, my rest of my family, 20 minutes down the road in Pullman, are. He's like, yeah, they're Cougars. Yeah, that's right. And he's like, how big of fans are they? Because he's like, the Cougars are great. And I'm like, well, I was at my cousin's wedding this summer, and they stopped the wedding and did they have like a full Cougars chant.
The Cougars are who?
Washington State Cougars.
Oh, okay.
They are a football program, and a few NFL players have come out of it, but it's not like one of the like super high end. And then he's like, okay, that's good. And I said, and the mascot was there. They hired the mascot to be there. That's how deeply entrenched. Cam, I noticed from a lot of comments, people were like, how does this guy not have a TV show? We're like, he kind of does. Like,
He has a radio show he does, I think, like live every Saturday across, like, it's like a national kind of syndicated program. Yeah, so he does some stuff.
He also
works hard.
Yeah.
He also ordered food for everyone on our tab. Did you notice?
Did he?
Good.
Yeah, he's like, do you guys want here? Just get like 3 pounds of wings.
Yeah.
He's a great
Is there anyone we're missing?
I don't think so.
Our staff. Shout out Justin Fisher. Shout out Robert Malloy. Shout out Mad Dog Maddie. Shout out Drew.
Signed her
helping out
first
too.
autograph.
Shout out Christina Weber.
Yeah. Everybody who put it all together. Justin did the spearheaded all the organization of that.
Did you say?
Yeah, Hayden was there too.
Shout out Hayden too. Hayden
Yeah.
came by. Shout out Tim Haraney, who asked a question during our show.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh no, I asked him a question.
No, he asked a question.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't even remember it. Come on, you're asking me to remember a live show? I don't remember.
Well, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
you asked him a question, then he talked about it. Yeah.
So anyway,
that works. Yeah.
It's been an interesting start to F1. So we're like, let's get Tim some spotlight because it's been crazy. So yeah, there was a lot that happened, and then obviously yesterday we didn't want to do a show. First off, Steve had the live the live stream all yesterday evening against the Islanders. And
Yeah.
of course, Pierre Engvall has to score. We'll talk about it.
We weren't going to be able to make a late podcast work yesterday because of the stream.
Right. And we needed to do a later podcast, we thought, because of the London Police Department's press conference. So we decided to go today, tomorrow, and Friday if you were looking for the schedule. And I think, I think we can start with that because in sequential order, the London Police Department did a couple of things that I think caught people off guard. The first thing was they came out and they apologized to the victim.
Like right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was pretty surprised by that.
Right. Because I've never seen, and I think all the reporters who were on the scene had said, I've never seen a police department apologize for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the TSN broadcast, they brought on a legal expert. And that was the first thing the London police did, is they made that apology. The press conference went on for 40 minutes? Something like that. And when they went back to the studio panel, they asked her, they go, well, what stood out to you? And it was that. They started that way. It went on for 40 minutes. Lots of information came out. There were lots of sound bites, but that was still the one that stuck out the most.
Yes.
Her name's Allison Craig.
She was very good.
I forgot.
She was very. I got to give TSN big credit because live TV used to do this sort of stuff all the time, and they've mostly gotten away with it, or not away with it, away from it because of internet streams, because of commitments of, like, if you're a sports network and a poker show is on in the middle of the day, that show has paid to be on your airwaves, so you can't cut them off because you'll lose money for it. And I have to give TSN full marks because that was a full broadcast. They handled it great. Duthie is so good live, and it was a great way to start. And then obviously you have Rick Westhead down there asking questions along with Craig Needles and some people from City News and a few others. But I just thought the way to handle that was what they did.
To have the whole pre-game show, but like the pre-press conference show into that, it was fabulous.
Context.
Like, it was something that I needed, that I think the audience needed and people watching needed, just the context, and have Allison there. And then Darren Dreger was also there to provide the hockey side of it, because Duthie said during the broadcast, he's like, we are a sports network, so Dreger, what's kind of the hockey side of this? You know, to have that and the three of them there, it was fabulously handled.
They treated the event with the weight that it deserved.
100%.
This has been one of the biggest stories in Canada. Like, forget the sport, for 2 years now. You should have a panel. You should have people on the ground.
It was nice that it was scheduled programming as well, in that, like, if you looked at the broadcast schedule, whether you're on your TSN app or you have cable, you see that this is coming up at 1:30 leading into the 2:00 press conference.
It was on the guide.
And it was scheduled. It was on the guide. It wasn't like it was, okay, there's something there, but when you turn it on, there's the actual program because it's brought in. No, they thought about this beforehand. They planned it. They put it on the guide, and it was there, and you could anticipate it. It was very, very well done.
They do a great job. They do a fantastic job. So that context that she provided, that the lawyer that was there beforehand, was great. So obviously they come out. The chief of police apologizes. He's a new chief of police. What's important to understand, I think, for anybody that missed the press conference, and I would expect most people watching this have, is that the police chief during the 2018 investigation is not the same police chief as now. And there were questions leveled at the new police chief about the way things were handled in 2018. And the police chief, current, said basically, there is a time and a place to talk about that.
Yeah.
But it's not now. And I know a lot of people were upset and put off by that. But I think the reasoning, and it may, at least in my mind, is that you don't want to take away from the fact that this is a sexual assault case. There is a woman who's been waiting 6 years for just this. And to have the distraction of, hey, clearly the police department, if they're apologizing, mishandled this. We know that. How did they do it? Well, I'm sure we're going to get to that. But let's focus on the real event here, the real damage, and making that part right first. So I appreciated that. And then I think what was interesting is there was a couple of revelations. Is that I believe it's Michael McLeod has been charged with a second accessory charge.
Yes.
Which we did not know. And then beyond that, I think there's the fact that a lot of this hinged on the witness speaking, right? In a sexual assault case, in most cases, you need the witness or witnesses to victim. Sorry, excuse me. And she wants to be referred to as victim. Sorry, yes. I inappropriately used that. You want the victim and any witnesses to be able to testify there, and it seems as though she has been cooperative from day one. Yes. And that's the hard pill to swallow, I think, knowing that. Mm-hmm. Now, this is going to be, as we said to you last week, it's going to be a slow process.
Yeah.
And justice should move slow. Should move this slow. Shouldn't move 6 years slow.
No.
But from the charging point, you need to have this move slowly because you have to make sure that everything is done right to see justice done.
It should be meticulous.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It all starts with, were there or weren't there crimes committed? And once we have an answer to that, that's when we can start answering everything else. What was or wasn't wrong with the investigation? What did or didn't people know? How did this fall through the cracks for 6 years? X, Y, and Z.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Rick Westhead kicked off the questioning, and he followed up later on, and I thought this was interesting. He changed his third question because you were allowed to stand at the podium, be in line. It was literally a lineup of reporters.
A few people changed their questions while in line, which is underratedly difficult to do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But Rick got a DM midway through and from a woman in the area who said, I brought my concerns. This happened to me to the London police and they did nothing. Does that mean I can come back? And ask that question. And one of the things that the police chief talked about right at the lead of the press conference was the erosion of public trust with an institution. And that's North America wide. I don't know what it's like, elsewhere in the world. But if you look at the statistics, public trust in law enforcement has dropped precipitously over the last 5 years, and rightfully so. You've had some high profile things go completely the opposite way is what they should. Justice is not done in cases like this. And this guy says that his department's mandate is to rebuild that public trust. And I thought Rick bringing up that direct message was absolutely fascinating. And I think when we look at yesterday's press conference on the whole, I know there was the little bit about the police officer, or sorry, the chief of police video, talking about the music videos and the way. Listen, I know what he was getting at, and the sense is it's like women are objectively, no one can argue with this. There is a language, there are pieces of our language that we use that denigrates women, that enforces patriarchy. We know that. I think that's what he was trying to say.
I don't think we have to explain his point. I think the whole thing is time and place, dude.
Yeah, you didn't need to do that.
What the hell are you doing?
that was like,
yeah. It's okay. You're getting pestered with questions by the media, so you want to attack the media. Wrong time, wrong place.
Yes.
It seemed like the whole thing was very formulated. Like they had a kind of a script going, and all of a sudden he decides to go off script and attack the people in the room.
It was annoying for many reasons, but one of them was I felt in general he did a pretty good job.
Yes,
with that conference. And unfortunately, you give people a soundbite, and a lot of people are going to take that soundbite, and it's not their fault. Mm-hmm. It's yours.
Yes,
for giving them the stupid soundbite. So, you spoke rather eloquently and openly for however long you did, but there's that one little blemish. Mm-hmm. I can't sympathize, man. Like that's on you.
Mm-hmm. Unprompted.
On you.
Yeah, I think
nobody asked there.
That was the thing that irked me the most. It was unprompted, and he just seemed flustered in the moment. And he held his composure through the whole thing, except for that, and it was a shame.
He definitely seemed emotional.
Well, and I would say too that anybody who makes that remark or agrees with that remark, remember too that it was a media report that kicked this investigation back off. Right? It's Rick, it's Robin, it's Katie Strang, Robin Doolittle, that is.
Yeah.
It's these people that have stayed on this case from the time it was first reported by Rick that have created and kicked off this police investigation the second time. Mm-hmm. So again, a very little sympathy for that point of view from me.
He re-kicked it off.
Yes.
Because the one thing he kept hammering is this is one investigation. It wasn't an investigation. They closed it. Mm-hmm. They opened a new investigation. They reopened the first one.
Right.
To me,
The only one.
They seem to sort of imply, because they kept hammering, like, we can't explain why this took 6 years and all that. So it seems like there's definitely information that'll come out about why it took 6 years in their case against the 5 that are accused. So
yes,
that's all. Like, they can't say anything. Like, you can't fault them for withholding information. There's a case involved here.
There was a lot implied.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot I think we can all extrapolate, but
a lot. I'll tell you, just honestly, behind the scenes, a lot has been made about the reputation of that particular police department in Ontario. It's not like this is the only time. So it seems like they have a reputation. I didn't know about it until why would I know that?
Well, you don't live in London.
Exactly, but there's been complaints about it before. This is not the first. So that's what we know for now. Katie Strang, in her article for The Athletic, she kind of goes through a good summation of what happened, but also the victim's account of what happened that night. And I'm not going to get into that because it's extremely, I think for a lot of people, it'd be extremely distressing. So I'm going to give you the warnings, the necessary warnings before you go and read it. But now the next hearing is in April, and we'll update as we can. But from here on out, at very least, we've taken steps forward. At very least, that clarity, I think, that everybody's been looking for well over a year. We at least are moving in a direction now. I think a lot of people didn't believe it would get to this point.
Yeah, there have been very irresponsible rumors about that, and I mean, it's here now, so I would ask all those people spreading those rumors to question their sources thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are.
Yep, exactly. Now, we're going to leave that, and we're going to take a hard right turn. These are really hard transitions to make, so I'll just make them. We had a Leaf game that night. It's the first time we've had a Leaf game in, it feels like months, but it was a week and a half, I think.
Something like that. 10 days. And by all accounts, even Sheldon Keefe, the Leafs played pretty well. Oh, that was a great game. Like, I yelled and screamed about Pierre Engvall because friggin' of course. But from start to finish, the Islanders and the Leafs beat the hell out of each other. That was a playoff game.
It was a slow start. Like that first period, you could tell everybody's getting back to playing hockey.
Yeah,
it looked like they hadn't played hockey in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. It was tight though.
Yes, it was 100. Both teams were at, I think, equal level.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that first Islanders goal, I think the Leafs would love to have that back. I don't feel like it's not great, but it wasn't.
Dude, all three of them.
Well, Sheldon Keefe's words were, "We did enough to win and just enough to lose."
Damn.
And the deserve to win meter, 65% in the Leafs' favor, guys.
Means nothing.
Yeah. No, I mean,
it literally means nothing.
They scored 2 goals. Both goals tied it. Both tying goals lasted for no time.
Minute or two.
If the Leafs had a little bit more energy in them, like if they had a little bit more legs, I think they'll be able to shovel some more pucks home. It felt like at the end there, especially when they're 6-on-5, like there are so many chances that are just like a little bit more effort in there. You can get that home. Even like the Matthews 3 triple posts.
I know.
If you're just a little more accurate, Mr. Matthews, you nail that every time.
I disagree. I thought it was between the ears. I was surprised by the pace of the game for coming back from All-Star break. Like maybe the pace would have been better, if it wasn't the first game back. But it was all brain farts. Like Morgan Rielly, so uncharacteristic for how he played this season. Like how he cost them the game. I don't like disparaging our boy Morgan. He cost him the game.
Yeah, I think we're saying the same thing. Like I don't think you disagree. I think that's on the effort side.
Oh, sorry. If I meant to say I vehemently disagree.
if you're getting on your man in front of the net, if you lose your man like that, he's because Engvall was to his left, and he just hustles a little bit to his left, he stops that play.
He knew he was there.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating rewatching the play, but. Morgan Rielly will be in the lineup next game. I don't think there's any question about that. Timothy Liljegren? Listen, for all of you who think I'm just doing a bit, Sheldon Keefe saying Liljegren, his mistake on the second goal, on the Kyle McLean goal, was that's
Pee-wee.
not an NHL play, it's Pee-wee hockey. What's he saying? Brad! Ah! Timothy Liljegren, Brad! This, I went back to it in the LFR. What did I say about Liljegren at the beginning of the season?
Well, you were surprisingly spicy about him because you were basically saying like this is a sort of a prove it year. I'm being kind about what you said because you said, "What are you?"
Okay,
Right.
There's a sliding scale.
Sure.
Also,
Right?
Can we play Sheldon Keefe's comments?
Oh,
Yeah,
play it.
let's do that.
Let's do this.
Is it frustrating when you lose track of where the penalty clock is and you let a guy slip behind you? Is that something at this point of the year that shouldn't happen anymore?
At this point of the year, this is the National Hockey League. Like, that's Pee-wee stuff. It's nothing to do with the season or anything like that. You play on the power play in the National Hockey League, they should not get behind you coming out of the penalty box.
All losses are tough, Sheldon, no matter how they happen, but any more difficult given that you guys tied the game late and there's turnover in the defensive zone.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We played well enough to win the game, but we do just enough to lose, right? Like second goal, third goal. Those are gifts. You can't give gifts to the goalie's playing the way he is in the other end.
Sorokin was great.
Goals, so it's so hard to come by. You battle your way back to tie the game. You can't do that.
So I alluded to Liljegren not getting in the next game. I don't know if it's going to be that dramatic. He's done on the power play.
Yeah.
That's
but then for who?
I mean, I think Keefe likes Timmins more than us. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was him.
God. Well, I was looking at some tweets this morning. I think it was Anthony Petrelli. I think, and I apologize, Anthony, if this is you or isn't you. But I thought it was a smart point. So Anthony, take the credit because I think you're a smart guy. I think he was talking about forget the power play for a second. A lot of Liljegren's struggles this year have been due to the fact that on 5-on-5 anyway, if he's had struggles, he's been stuck with guys like Giordano. And I don't hate Mark Giordano. Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
Let me say this point.
Sure.
This guy is not mobile anymore.
Giordano?
Yeah, he's not.
And he wasn't on the ice.
I know that. And I said, please forget the power play for a second.
Okay,
but there are
fine.
more. Listen, do you think if
that's-
Timothy Liljegren had played great hockey all year, do you think Sheldon Keefe makes a comment like that? Absolutely
I think
not.
they should both be out.
Okay, fine. Cool. Listen, I'm happy to see Will Lagesson back in the lineup. I actually am. But I'm saying that I think that the power play, yes, that's Timothy Liljegren. 5-on-5, they really just don't have it on the defense.
No, they don't.
I don't think that they can fix it in season.
Brad. I'll
Do
do
you
it
wanna-
a little quiet this time.
You want to take a look at the lines from
What do we got,
today? Today we got Nyes, Matthews, Marner,
Same.
Bertuzzi, Tavares, Nylander, so
Same.
nothing's changed in the top six. Then we got Gregor, Domi, Robertson,
Domi.
McCann, Holmberg, Reeves.
Cool.
And then on the defensive side, we got Rielly, Brody, Benoit McCabe, Gio, Liljegren, Legason, Timmins. Those
All
are
right.
two scratchies.
Yeah.
The definition of insanity.
So nothing has changed from last night.
I think that we have to live in a world where Mark Giordano doesn't play every night. He can play every night in the playoffs, but guys, this guy's pushing 40. Put Legason in. He played well.
Yeah, okay, we know what Giordano is. We know.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yes.
Giordano's an easy conversation. He's 40. That's the conversation.
He's a man.
Adam, here, go to the 3 cam. All right. Here's what we're doing. This coffee mug
Okay.
is a top 4 defenseman on a playoff team.
Okay.
This water cup is waiver fodder. This phone is Timothy Liljegren. Put that phone where you think he is.
In the middle.
You think smack dab in the middle?
I think right now he's your 5-6.
I think he's there.
Oh man, teams would snap that guy up in no
They would.
time.
And he'd be their 7th defenseman in no time.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think you're being too hard on him.
Yeah.
I think the problem is mostly around him.
I've been hard on him for the last bunch of years. This guy, he's Bruno Caboclo. He's 2 years away from being 2 years away. I'm getting sick of it. He's going to be 25 at the end of April. We're already seeing guys from the 2018 and 2019 draft getting put on waivers. This dude's 2017. He's been given lots of opportunities. And every time they graduate him from the bottom pair, hey, he's looked good on the bottom pair. Please stop showing me his numbers. He's not playing against the toughest competition. Please stop.
I think he's a bottom pairing defenseman.
Yeah,
what's
but
wrong with that?
I think he's better than Connor Timmins, man.
Why can't
agree
Timothy
with that.
Liljegren be your 5th or 6th defenseman on a good team?
Man,
What's wrong with that?
I'm done there. They need an upgrade. Like, what I'm saying is, I would like a defenseman who is better than him to push him out of the lineup, but they don't even have that. I don't think he's an everyday player. I think contending teams look at him the way we look at William Lagesson. William Lagesson is a guy, he can play good games for you. That's how I look at Liljegren. He can play good games for you.
Yeah,
Does he need to be in the lineup every day? No.
You need 6 defensemen. Like, every defenseman can't be a top 4 defenseman.
Yes.
You need people to fill out the rest of your lineup.
Okay.
I think Liljegren on a good team is your 6th defenseman.
If
and there's
Kimmo
nothing
Timonen,
wrong with that.
To Jesse's point, if Kimmo Timonen can play 4 minutes a night and win a Stanley Cup with the Blackhawks, what does it say? The Blackhawks had a great top 4, so they didn't have to rely on it. And the problem with the Leafs is they don't. They've got 2 of 4. They've got 2 of 4.
Yeah.
Because I think Brody's not been good, and I understand that things happen to Brody this summer. I understand he went through some loss, but the reality is the product in the ice isn't good enough. And if you have a good top 4, you have a solid top 4. To Jesse's point, you don't need to lean on Liljegren as much.
Yeah, but who's in the top 4? Rielly,
Brody, who's not been good,
yeah,
and you can't show me any numbers that tell me. And I love TJ.
Yeah, Brody's not been good.
Not been good.
He's not been good. And what was I campaigning for a couple months ago? Put Liljegren up there. You notice I stopped? Because he doesn't deserve it.
Okay, so then who's the next one? You got McCabe and
Benoit,
who's
the
great.
same age and lapped him. He lapped him.
Yeah, Benoit, who got like a standing O yesterday. Like,
Of course he did. He deserved
had
it.
to fight for a non-hit, but
Like, everyone, I keep getting asked, what does a Benoit extension look like? I'm not making less than Tim. I can tell you that much. I don't care how many points I put up. I'm in the top 4.
Yeah, but all you're saying is one guy is better than the other guy, which is okay because Liljegren can be your 6th defenseman, and Benoit's better than him.
That's
fine.
That
doesn't mean you get rid of Liljegren because Benoit is a better player.
No, you know what I'm doing? I'm mourning the loss of what I thought Timothy Liljegren could be in my mind. Do you remember us? I mean, he was never going to be this good, but we were talking about he could be Karlsson because he was drafted in 2017 when Karlsson was lighting the world on fire. He shoots right. He's Swedish. He must be the same guy.
Sure.
That's not how it works. But like we all thought for sure at least a top 4 capable guy, and I am coming to grips with. This guy just is a guy.
he's not a 20-minute guy. He's a 15-minute guy.
He's barely above replacement level,
which is fine.
Jesse, what do you have there?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. I thought you had something on Timothy on the stats there.
No.
I think that again we're focusing on the result of the problem rather than the problem. The result of the problem is Liljegren is put into positions where I just don't think, and I understand you're mourning the loss of the potential that he had. The reason he fell from the top 5 to 17, if you remember, is he was going into that draft. People were like, this guy's going to be great.
Yeah.
And then he fell to 17 and the Leafs were like, woo!
Yep.
And, it hasn't worked out the best. He's still a top 6 defenseman, I think, on most teams. But I think the Leafs' top 4 is not strong enough, and therefore you put players like him who are not good enough to be in positions like that in that position. And I understand the mourning of, hey, it's our draft pick. We really wanted it to work out. It didn't work out. Fair enough. But I think now we got to focus on this defense core is not going to work. It's not going to work. McCabe, I like.
He's playing his offside. Like, that's another one, underratedly. Like, Liljegren should be taking some minutes away from Brody. McCabe's playing on his off-frigging side. Mm-hmm. Like, I know Brody is as well, but I feel like he's a little bit more known
he's a specialist for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake
McCabe didn't really previously do that for the Leafs. Mm-hmm. There was that weird pair where it was him and Brody. I'm pretty sure McCabe was the one on the left.
Yeah. And I think, so we like Benoit McCabe. We have liked Rielly Brody in the past. Go.
I'll give you a little bit of juice.
Give me the
I
juice.
said this on the stream last night. The Leafs are so desperate for a capable right-handed defenseman that someone this weekend told me a rumor of someone the Leafs called on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say the name, but I just put my hands together and I said an entire rosary saying, please God, not him. Please God, not this player. And I was like, how are we even having this conversation where acquiring this player would even be considered an upgrade? The core sucks. It's not good enough, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bad. I think we're all agreeing here.
Wait, who's the player?
No. I'm not doing that.
What? I thought that was the whole point of the story.
Yeah.
No. I said I wasn't going to say the name.
Oh, I thought he was going to say that.
No.
I was confused by
No.
that.
Put it this way. Put it this way.
Yeah.
I'm stressed. I'm very stressed.
All right, Adam, let's go. What is it?
Which Calgary Flame?
Who's the player? So this is...
I'll give you 3. We're doing it right now. And if you don't get it, it's on you. You get 3 guesses. If you get it right, I will be honest and tell you.
Like, you got to give me some parameters.
Okay. Well, it's a player that Steve clearly doesn't like.
Okay.
You can ask 3 questions.
Okay.
And then give 3 guesses.
Okay, so
I'm
do
giving
they-
you 6 chances.
What division do they play in?
Oh, you son of a gun. The Metro.
It's Eric at Branson.
No. So
Damn it!
You've wiped out one of each.
Okay.
They play in the Metro.
Adam, that was a poor use.
That wasn't a poor use.
That was a poor use.
Yeah, Branson is the kind of guy that Treliving would love. In fact, I think he's required him before. Did he not play in Calgary?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think I know.
No. Is it bad?
I want to ask a question before.
Okay, I'm going to let you take this, Jesse, because I don't know.
Okay. Does their last name start with a D?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I know it. Do you want me to say it, or do you want to keep it quiet?
Not Tony D'Angelo. No.
Wait, what's your guess? Is it Tony D'Angelo or not Tony D'Angelo?
Oh, man. Wait, so the Leafs are interested in him?
Nobody's saying that.
Get out of here. He's found his happy place in Carolina. That's the only place he hasn't caused trouble. Let him live. Let him live. Yeah, right. No, I don't believe that. I do think, and this is funny, I've heard the Canucks might be willing to move off Zadorov.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Who said that?
So there's been a couple outlets that have hinted at it, and then I've heard it. Somebody told me, and I was like, really? And it's because of his salary. But
Why'd you get him?
The amount. Well, exactly. The Leafs could have paid the 3rd and the 5th, and actually Zadorov would have been an upgrade based on what they have.
Zadorov.
Like Zadorov McCabe.
The Canucks trading Zadorov to the Leafs will be really funny.
Now, the Leafs don't have a 2nd-round pick. I'm imagining the Canucks would want similar value to what they traded out. But I think the value for the Canucks is moving that salary out and getting somebody else in for the trade deadline. You know, Lindholm obviously is a great get for them, but I think...
So last Wednesday, sorry to interrupt, Rick Dhaliwal updated that story about Zadorov, and he said that, I've been told the Canucks are not trying to trade Nikita Zadorov. I believe these Zadorov rumors caught the Canucks off guard. As of now, I can report the Canucks are not trying to move Zadorov. I think that the whole thing that happened this week has caught everybody off guard. He just said that. As of now, I can report they're not trying to move. So he said the same thing 3 times. Sorry.
As of now. Vancouver fans need to hear it a few times.
Yeah.
But I get it, though, because they dealt with the league
Rick
ship for a while.
Dhaliwal says they're not trying to move
The
Zadorov.
Vancouver Canucks were caught off guard.
but-
Caught off guard, the Vancouver Canucks were.
I don't know why they had to quote him 3
But as
separate
of now-
times saying the same thing.
I do not like green eggs and Zadorov. I do not like them. Sam, I am. What was that?
I don't know. Canucks Army. We'll call you out.
I can hear Rick saying that. Rick, who is one of the kindest people in this industry, by the way. I love Rick.
No, but when you're transcribing the quote, you don't need to type it out 3 times.
No, I just think it's funny because Rick's so energetic.
You want to see it there?
Yeah.
Oh, you want it right there. Yeah.
Do you know which team he likes most? Do you know if he likes the West Coast?
I do think.
Do you think his time is toast? Sorry.
As of now, the Vancouver Canucks are not trying to move him. It doesn't mean they're not taking calls on him. Remember, the Canadians were not trying to move Subban, and then they did because they got a call. So
Because they got it. No, it's because Mark Bergevin's a liar.
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there's that too. I think at the end of the day, the reality is the Leafs have they have their 5 and 6 being exposed because their top 4 are not performing to what they need to perform. Whatever I think it's, what do they pay, $5 million for Brody? That money needs to be reallocated to somebody else.
Bye, Brody. See you somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, that's it, right? Brody's gone.
I would be open to him coming back, but in a different role at a lower price.
He's not taking a discount. Somebody's going to pay him.
Yeah, and you know what? He'll probably have a better year last year because by all accounts, last summer was super shitty, and you can understand how a player's performance can fall off due to that.
Of course.
But like,
they can't afford him.
You can't afford a $5 million defenseman who plays like that. Right?
Here's what I've got no patience for as a Leaf fan. Okay, I understand. You can't empty the cupboard every year. All right. I've made peace with the fact that this season is not last season. There is no Ryan O'Reilly deal in waiting. There is no Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty single tier deal in waiting. I don't even think there's a Luke Schenn deal in waiting. You got to make hockey trades, right? I don't have any patience for, they're going to go to free agency and they'll walk and then they'll have cap space so that they can what? They can go to free agency and spend their cap space stupidly again. I'm supposed to be excited about that when this past offseason, they signed Benoit to be like their 8th or 9th defenseman. They basically lucked into the guy. Tyler Bertuzzi, I'd rather give him a ringette stick. I think he might have the same amount of luck. I don't think I've ever seen a more snake bitten person ever.
And it's crazy because that line controls play regularly.
I thought
they're not bad.
I thought Bertuzzi played great last night.
I agree.
He was all over the ice.
Yeah. But he's coming up on like 1 goal in 30 games. Like by the end of the week, if he doesn't score, that's what he's going to be at. That's insane. TJ Brody, we're like, he just won't be back. I don't have patience for that. I want the next 35 or whatever regular season games, and ideally the playoffs to be watchable.
Let me ask you a question.
Answer.
Would you sell Brody because you know you're not re-signing him? You move him before the deadline.
Like pure sell?
Sell, and let's say either you're looking at it and you're getting a defenseman who signed for a couple of years, but cheaper, obviously, and you get somebody under control, or you just sell for some sort of lower assets.
If they sell Brody, like let's say they're able to get is saying a first round pick unreasonable? Like Sean Monahan just went for a first.
No.
Like let's say at least a second round pick. Mm-hmm. If the Leafs can get that and then flip it for something, I would definitely be.
Or even Brody in a hockey trade where you're getting a defenseman back who makes more sense.
Yeah, a team needs someone like Brody, and the Leafs need someone like someone else that
Tony
team has.
D'Angelo.
Well, perhaps not, but they acquire that player. Like, yes, Jesse. Yeah. Like, I'm sure they're working the phones. I'm sure they're trying. I don't have an appetite for. Yeah, well, they just won't be back.
Yeah, Adams. The thing Adam hates more than divorce is own rentals.
Yes.
And that was
own
Kyle
rentals
Dubas's,
are such bullshit.
Own rentals are a path to divorce.
Especially
you hold on to them, you don't actually address the issue, and then they leave anyway.
They are. I want to throw out there that in a year like this, like which is the own rentals thing really came up when Gardner and JVR and Bozak were all up, and the Leafs were still like they were performing, but they were rebuilding. And what they should have done was trade those guys for assets in hockey trades or whatever it is, and bring in and strengthen this longer term.
The JVR hurts.
They had more. They thought, I believe, that they had more depth coming up in the Janssens and Kapanens and those players.
Yeah.
And then they signed those guys to too much money as well.
Yeah.
But I think, with own rentals, you have the opportunity with if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, like what you're basically in. right? Even The Athletic, I read, I think, Dom's article. The Leafs have a 96% chance of making the playoffs at this point, right? So you're basically in
96?
96%.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Because if you lose 3 games in a row and then it's like,
It can fall.
Now your percent is 80, you know? So
Right.
it's like, it's in the moment, but it's not conducive of like, hey, what if things change a week from now?
The Islanders moved to within like 4 points of them last night.
Yeah.
But you guys know that
does that take into account Edmonton winning 16 games in a row? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think.
I think the point is if you were to take each, like the entire season on a whole, and they continue playing relative to what their record has been, then that would be
They ought to make the
they're
playoffs.
going to make the playoffs. Is what I'm fucking saying.
They ought to. Yeah.
I don't know how to challenge Dom's model because I can't do math. So it's really difficult for me to go, Dom, you're wrong. I can say I disagree with you and I can't tell you why, which is a dumb guy's way of looking at it.
Hey.
But I think at 96%, if you're the Leafs and you know that this is not your year, or you want to say you go, I'm going to set it and forget it, like the TV commercial from the 90s, the infomercial.
I remember that.
You just go, here's what the team is, feed it into the playoffs. Let's see how far it gets.
Hey, I got something for you.
Go.
You want some positivity? Jesse, how far into the show are we? Do you know?
45 minutes.
We haven't mentioned Ilya Samsonov's name once.
Yeah, because he was good.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's, hey, progress.
would've-
We like progress.
Would have liked to see him put in a little better effort on that breakaway.
Yeah. He got.
Like, is his jock straps in the rafters?
He got. It was bad. It was bad. But he gave them a chance to win.
Yeah.
And I think the only sin he committed last night was he wasn't better than Ilya Sorokin, which, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he beat Connor Hellebuck the other day. Like, he
he's
gave him a
back.
chance to win. He's back.
Baxing off.
Hey.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, I'm not really worworried about him in the league.
Fucking firing all cylinders today. Let's go.
He's on cylinders enough. I think.
Oh, you're both of you go to jail. No. Both of you under the jail prison.
We had Jesse and I had a boss at Virgin Radio where she'd be like, now we're firing on all cylinders. every meeting, we're firing on all cylinders. It was just her thing where she was fired up. But no, I think
The cavalry has arrived.
That's right.
Am I right?
But I think if the Leafs are going to do anything in the playoffs, if they don't make a quote unquote hockey trade, which is a term I still don't like, but everybody seems to think they know what it means.
They're all hockey trades. Trade people for people.
The only way they're going to get in, they're going to see any success in 2 ways. And this is always the way Dubas set it up too. So you can make fun of Brad for his free agent signings all you want, but this is how Dubas wanted them to win. Goals, good goaltending.
Yep.
Goals,
Why is that?
good goaltending.
Good
Why
goal.
is that?
Well, sorry. Good starting goaltending. Horrible backup goaltending.
Well, if in the future, in the year 2000, if we're looking at a Joe Wool, Ilya Samsonov, and they waive somebody else because they want to keep Martin Jones, I still think that and I brought this up at the All-Star, I think they should trade Martin Jones.
Dude, this might, by the end of the season, it might not work out this way, but it might be the Leafs' best 1 through 3
We've ever seen.
goaltending. Not ever, but like
Ever.
of the Matthews era.
Yeah. No, I think the Leafs' best 1 through 3, I think, was like Potvin, Damian Rhodes, and there was a third goalie who was like
Damian frickin' Rhodes.
I can't believe we let him go to Ottawa. Damian Rhodes ruled for a bit. He was good.
Marcel Cousineau?
Marcel Cousineau, yeah, and that's
Oh,
what you
yeah.
did have to waive guys. I think that I understand you want goaltending depth going into the playoffs. You can't hold 3, and if you're a Leafs goaltender, you're not making it through waivers a second time. So to me, there's enough teams struggling with goaltending where you could get some pretty significant assets back that you can then parlay into quote unquote hockey trade.
You're telling me you couldn't get like a 4th, 5th round pick for?
I think you get more than that.
Come on. Yeah, no.
The goaltender market's hot. Mark Lazarus and
I would love that.
Wyshynski and Down Goes Brown were saying like this could be the deadline of, because not much is out there. This could totally be the deadline of goaltenders because you've got great teams with shitty goaltending.
Well, also like I know a couple big fish have already been traded, quote unquote. Monahan
Lindholm.
and Lindholm.
Those are big fish.
Lindholm's a big fish.
Yeah.
Monahan is a very interesting story. And people think that means a boring trade deadline. My sweet summer child, you're new here. No, it just means are going to be extra silly and extra dumb There are going to be more trades, and dudes are going to be overvalued. And these are the types of trade deadlines where teams make mistakes that we talk about for the next decade. It's going to be really exciting. Or home runs. Imagine the Blackhawks in 2015 get knocked off in round 1 after getting Antoine Vermette for a first. And a recent second, but they won the cup, so no
Curtis
one cares.
Glencross once fetched a second-round pick and never played after that season.
He
Never played
the Flames
He signed a
traded
PTO
him.
with the Leafs.
They sold on him and made the playoffs anyway. That was the
Because that's what
cardiac
you
kids
do.
year.
And guess who?
And
did
that was the same trade deadline, I
And
believe.
who did that?
Who did what?
Brad Treliving did that. So he can do it.
Rad Tribliving, I forgot. You're right, Rad Tribliving. Brad sold,
Yeah.
made the playoffs anyway.
Yes.
You're allowed to do that and
You
won a
are.
round.
Yes. You are allowed to do that. Which in Toronto that's the most successful season we've had, tied for first in 25 years.
Now you got me all hot and bothered. I'm up.
I'm just saying. Listen, listen, if I'm the Leafs and this is not my big go for it year, which I don't think it should be, try to add to your blue line in a longer term sense, much like they did with McCabe, right? Mm-hmm. That was a great trade last year. And
Pretty good trade.
it was. Dubas had great trades.
Would have been better if they kept Lafferty, but yeah.
And then you try to get some asset value back. Like, okay, Martin Jones goes to the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Carolina Hurricanes are amazing, by the way. They make goaltenders look way better than they are.
Which says something about how they've been.
He's instantly their number one goaltender right now. He's the healthiest, and he's the most consistent.
Freddie Anderson is a huge monkey wrench in the entire NHL playoff picture. Because if he's like league average or even slightly above, like that's got to be considered a cup contender.
He's played 6 games this year, Steve.
I know, but he's coming back.
Uh-huh.
There's a month.
If there's one thing I know about Freddie Anderson is he's never healthy for the playoffs.
They got a month to evaluate. That's all I'm saying.
I know.
They got a month to evaluate, and it's very interesting.
All right, guys, I got it. These 4 goaltenders played for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 1998-1999 season. You're talking about Martin Jones.
Oh.
Shh.
I know who it
Don't
is.
spoil things for the listeners.
You're right.
You're talking about Joseph Woll and Martin Jones and Ilya Samsonov. How about this?
How about it?
98-99. They had Cujo play 67 games. 9 games were played by Glenn Healy.
That's right.
Oh.
And 5 games were played by Felix Potvin.
Until he was traded.
Yes.
The cat pot.
And Jeff Reese got in there for 2 games, but like that's not as important. I think that's the best trio to ever play in a season.
Probably. But Felix Potvin, the guy that they got for Felix Potvin is my favorite Leaf defenseman ever, Brian Berard. I loved Brian Berard.
Man,
right.
that
That
trade
was a hell
should
of
have
a
ruled.
trade. Yeah, it did rule until
And then
the eye
Marian
injury.
Hossa ruined it.
Yeah. And then he chose not to sign here and had a really great career in New York, I think.
Would you take the 2002, 2003 3 goalies that played over these years'
Hold on.
goalies?
Let me see if I can guess.
Okay.
So 2002, 2003, that's Belfour.
Mm-hmm.
That's Trevor Kidd.
Yes.
Is Rick Tabarachi on that too?
I
He
think
is not the third goalie.
Okay.
Tom Barrasso
He is not the third goalie.
He was good too with the Leafs, Tom Barrasso. Like he was good backup.
was Michael Telquist?
The third goalie. Well done. So which 3 are you taking? Belfour, Telquist, or Kidd versus Samsonov, Woll, and Jones?
I'm taking Belfour because he was really good. He was a Hall of Fame goaltender. But Trevor Kidd was okay. But like Belfour was like sneaky good for the Leafs. They
922,
like
7 shutouts,
outrageous.
62 games.
Get out of here.
Correct answer is Anderson Hutchinson Sparks.
No, McElhaney.
Well, who was Reimer's backup in 2013?
It's
Scrivens.
everyone. In 2013, yeah, Ben.
Scrivens. Yeah.
Scrivezna.
Scrivezna.
I liked the Reimer Scrivens pairing. I thought they were pretty good.
Me too.
That's pretty good. Like,
Yeah,
Belfour Kid.
A shame about Telquist because I think he ran into health issues, or was that somebody else?
He looked like he had potential and he just never really reached it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 922.
Man,
And that's
7
2002.
shutouts. Holy shit. He was like
and 62
37
games,
too.
62 games played. He was
Yeah.
their backup for Cujo. They were waiting. They said, "Listen, Ed, we'll sign you to whatever money you want because it was pre-cap. Just wait because we need to see if Cujo is going to stick around."
And then he did not.
And then Cujo went to Detroit, and it didn't go well.
It's got to be so dry to be that guy. I loved Jason York's story when he was on the podcast, how he had a contract to sign with the Leafs. And then the Leafs signed McGillney, and they called him back like, yeah, sorry, bud.
It's funny that the Leafs would even have had an internal budget at that point.
I know.
Yeah.
Should have just got him.
They, like you think about that now, and what did Bill Foley say last summer? He was on an interview, and he said, without the cap, we'd be spending $150 million on players on the Vegas.
135, I think it was.
It was 135?
But which is $50 million over the current cap.
Right.
Like
the Leafs, if that's what Vegas is willing to spend, you have to imagine MLS, he would be in that range. Damn.
Damn indeed.
Yeah.
Look at Cujo's hockey DB page for like all day. I just reminisce.
It's amazing.
You know?
He was
just
so
stare
good.
at it, look at the numbers.
What a weird goalie.
Yeah.
He should be in the Hall.
He's not?
He's not.
No.
That's stupid.
I know.
Yeah, he was
900 games played.
There was a couple years where he, look at that, 71 games played for the Oilers.
Look at all those
71
game seasons. And he was stupid good. I would argue he was better for the Oilers than the Leafs, and he was pretty good on the Leafs.
I would say that too.
Wow.
That friggin' Game 7 save he made. I'm sure all you would need to do on YouTube is type in Curtis Joseph Game 7 Edmonton Dallas. Also, he played in Vegas before it was cool.
Yeah.
Played for the IHL's Las Vegas Thunder.
There you go. The numbers in Toronto are much better. Maybe we're wrong about. Maybe
no,
our
I
numbers
think
are
he was
close
better
on
in
that.
Toronto. I do.
I think we're wrong on that.
Yeah, but I think the team was better.
No, but look at the wins. Like in Edmonton, they went 29, 31 and 9, 32, 29 and 9, 15, 16 and 2.
No, what I'm saying is the Leafs had a better team than the Oilers did.
Oh, right. So
he
he
performed
did more
miracles.
for the Oilers. That's fair.
Although the 7th seed Leafs beating the 2nd seed Sens was a friggin' miracle.
Yeah.
That was a friggin' miracle.
Didn't they do it in 4 games too? They swept them?
Yeah, I remember. I still remember. I think we were in the convenience store up the street, from the school. And I was looking at the newspaper and I was reading a playoff preview. And I was just like, they're going to get killed.
Yeah.
The Leafs are going to get killed, and they friggin' swept them.
Yep. Yeah. I think that was the year too that Yashin had to come back and fulfill his contract.
I can't remember.
And then, there was a year where there was a year where he had to come back because he skipped a year with the Senators because he was trying to get out of there. And then the NHL said, no, you're under contract. So they made him come back. He played the whole year. And then the Leafs had to play the Islanders one year in the playoffs. And it was
first round.
They literally stapled Shane Corson to him.
Mm-hmm.
And Shane Corson shut him down, but he was a monster for the Islanders.
And Corson got suspended because he kicked Eric Cairns.
Did he? Oh, man.
He either kicked him or he headbutted him. He did something that you definitely can't do.
Time for the BetMGM big story.
Oh, do we have to talk about this?
We have to talk about it.
No.
Pierre Engvall scoring against the Leafs. Now, if you're like producer Drew, and this is the way you got to look at these things, is if a player is getting a tribute video at home against the Leafs, you have to bet them to score.
Dude, it's not even that Engvall did it against the Leafs. It's that Drew profited from it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm most upset about.
He put $10 down. He won 42.
Oh, get out of here!
Yeah, the payout was 42, so it was almost just over 3-1, which is pretty darn good for something that's guaranteed to happen.
Guaranteed.
That's an easy $32.
And you know what? The hilarious thing going into this is the one guy you think, okay, there's no way he's going to score because he hasn't been scoring. He has 6 goals this year. He had 5 coming in,
which means he had 5.
Yeah.
And what was he even doing out there with 2 minutes left?
Nothing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's just, apparently there was money on the board for him too. But
I thought you weren't allowed to admit that. But he said in the postgame, was it to who was it to?
Luke Fox.
Luke Fox.
I think he was. There's plausible deniability there. I'd be like, I was kidding.
Right. You do this. Yeah. I don't know what he's talking about.
I also think the money on the board thing is to target players. That's probably gone.
Yeah.
That used to be a thing.
Yeah.
But now targeting goals is.
I was kidding. Yeah. I got this long neck. The sarcasm doesn't travel down.
Are you guys?
Joke.
Do you guys think we should nix tribute videos?
We're getting there.
I am on the side of I don't care. I don't mind it. If you want to say thank you to somebody who worked for you,
Call
I
it.
think that's okay.
Yeah.
No, but publicly, it makes a difference. Like, there's a difference between doing it privately and doing it publicly. If you want to publicly thank somebody who worked for you, I think that's okay.
I think they should do it for everyone, though. Because when you open it up to Pierre Engvall, who I think had a career high of 15 goals as a forward, now you got to do it.
Now
for
you got
everyone.
it.
I think Pierre Engvall is everybody. I think they've reached the point where they do it for everybody, and Pierre Engvall is kind of the bar.
Go for it.
So if you ever make
you
a
know
trade
what?
with a team where 3 of your players go one way and say 2 plus an asset come the other, that means when that team comes back, you got to do back-to-back-to-back videos for
The
those
Jared
players.
McCann tribute video is going to be fun.
I hope they do that.
Yeah.
I hope they do that.
And how about this? Dallas is coming to town tomorrow. Matt Murray should get a video. They're Matt Murray, just because he has the same name as the guy who the Leafs pay.
Matt Murray's still on the team.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
one?
He hasn't left.
Yes, they are.
He hasn't left.
Yes, he is.
You can't tribute somebody who's on IR.
And that was the BetMGM big story, gentlemen. Of course, go to betmgm.com/dangle. How do you spell it, Steve?
Dangle.
No, it's spelled Engvall, actually. That's how you spell it.
Dangval.
Dangval. Go to Dangle, betmgm.com/dangle for all the best odds. And I would suggest highly that you pick that one anytime a former Leaf comes to town.
Just rob BetMGM.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, if you're looking for something that a lot of people benefit from, obviously we've talked openly about the fact that the 3 of us have been to therapy many, many times. BetterHelp might be for you. And the great thing about BetterHelp is it's one of those things that can be online. Well, it is online. It's either that or it's on the phone or it's via text messages sometimes, kind of however you're comfortable. And if you're not vibing with the person that they match you with in less than 48 hours sometimes, then you can switch. Because really important, just like some shows don't have chemistry, thankfully we do, sometimes you and your therapist don't. And if you don't, and I've had this actual situation happen, I went to therapy, didn't really bond with the therapist, didn't get anywhere, you can switch and find somebody that you do with. And that I think is really great. There's also, it's flexible and convenient, so it can be suited to your schedule. So it's not like you can only book from 10 to 4. While you're at work. It can be all over the place in terms of...
And something like therapy is especially important in the winter months because none of us get enough vitamin D and the sad hits a little quicker, in this time of the year. So I think it's a best time to protect yourself.
I make excuses to go outside when it's like it is today. There's some sunshine in the sky.
A little bit of sun.
You know what? I'll bring in the garbage. You know what? I got to check the mail. It's been a few days to check the mail. And you know what? Iggy needs another walk.
Yeah. I actually had a chat with my therapist the other day, and he said maybe you need to get a sun lamp because it's been gray. So if it's been a little bit like that for you, BetterHelp, it might be something you want to give it a try.
I was going to say, you know what else they could try?
BetterHelp. That's right. BetterHelp.com/
Tell your therapist that you're going to
SDP.
BetterHelp.
I told him that.
Today, you can get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/SDP. There was a lot from the All-Star weekend that kind of went under the radar because obviously we had the World Cup and we had the Four Nations Cup and we had the Olympics, and it's great to see all that happening and Gary not really leaving the door open to try to skirt out of it. Like they're actually legitimately going. I thought this was the most fascinating point of the weekend, and that is NHLPA boss Marty Walsh blasting Coyotes ownership, expressing serious concerns about the future of hockey in Arizona, which then prompted the Arizona Coyotes Twitter account to retweet Puck Report NHL and confirm that they are staying in Arizona. That's right. Vaunted news source, Puck Report NHL.
I'm not owned. As I turn into a corn cob.
By the way, the Coyotes social media team have been very good this year. I have to give them full marks, but this is sort of embarrassing. So I'll start with Gary Bettman saying, Alex Morello told me he was certain he will get this done. I am hopeful and reasonably confident he's going to do what he says.
See?
And then the Coyotes retweet Puck News NHL, our source for all Puck News NHL, and said, we are fully committed to Arizona and hope to share exciting news with all of you soon. Arizona is the home and future. And the future is incredibly bright here.
I take what they say at face value.
Now,
why wouldn't you? I'm actually disgusted with what you just did. You platformed that disgusting, biased Canadian, Marty Walsh, and the Canadian media that he works for, right?
You mean that former U.S. Secretary of Labor, Marty Walsh?
Yeah.
No, he's Canadian. He's from the hamlet of Boston, Massachusetts.
Home of the Four Nations Cup next year. What a surprise.
Oh, I think you see the conspiracy here, Adam. Listen.
They're moving the Coyotes to Boston?
You have to, it may be, according to you, Canadian media, you have to decide if this is someone objectively talking about a train wreck disgrace of an organization or
ownership.
If it's
ownership.
Or if it's a biased member of the mean Canadian media.
I think it's the second one. I want to say what Marty Walsh said because Marty Walsh, the bar was pretty low for the NHLPA coming into this job, let's be honest. And Marty Walsh is really highlighting how little Don Fehr did. And you make millions of dollars being the head of the NHLPA. Don Fehr collected his check and he left. And I'm surprised more NHL players weren't upset about it. But here's what happened. Mm-hmm. Said the next deadline for me is tomorrow, as in the Coyotes deadline, because they keep setting these deadlines and the Coyotes keep missing them. The next deadline for me is tomorrow. It's now. It's right now. The last conversation I had with the commissioner was that the owner was looking at a piece of land in the Arizona area, which is a big area. I don't know if you've been to Arizona. It's huge. I'm not sure where that stands. I have my personal concerns about that ever happening. There is a piece of land in Mesa. There was a piece of land in Phoenix. There were 3 ballot questions in Tempe. None of that came to fruition. And he said, I'm extremely disappointed in the ownership of Arizona and the president of the Arizona franchise. He says Arizona, but it's not the president of Arizona. It's the franchise. They have not reached out to the PA to talk to us about what the situation in Arizona is. Since I've been here, we've been working very closely with the league. We've been working to grow hockey and grow the sport of hockey. We have had great announcements about the tournaments, blah, blah, blah. And that's going to increase viewership and hockey fans. And we have a team in Arizona that doesn't seem interested in having conversations with the union who represent the players that play on the team. So it's a wait and see approach. Unfortunately, we've had 2 unofficial deadlines to come up with some movement, and we've got past both of those. So I'm interested to see what the ownership of Arizona has in mind. They want to buy the land. It's not just about buying a piece of land, okay? And this is what we talked about last week, guys. Mm-hmm. We said this. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you buy the piece of land. And this is, I'm quoting directly, how long will it take you to permit the land? Do you need a referendum? Is there hazardous waste? Do you need to remediate the land? There's lots of questions. So you talk about buying land in Arizona, and it can be 10 years before the shovel goes in the ground. As far as I'm concerned, that's unacceptable on behalf of the players on that team, and it should be unacceptable for the league. And I'll tell you this, guys.
There you go.
You know who's pissed about this and they're not talking because they never do?
All of the players?
The owners.
Oh.
The owners are subsidizing this team. You're a billionaire. You're by rights greedy. You're paying. Money is coming out of your pocket and going to this team that can't get its shit together. Now, I think hockey can work in Arizona. Everybody does. Yeah. Everybody knows it can.
Great. Get a building.
Got to get a building first.
Get a fucking building.
It's the same conversation every time, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. I'm sure the listeners are too. Mm-hmm. It's an explosive quote. It's a newsworthy quote. I'm kind of fucking sick.
Yeah. What's different here about this conversation is that now there is somebody else saying it who seems like they can have power to push these things in some sort of direction. So that is new.
Like, it's okay to have aspirations for something better. But if you told me your goal is to have a Michelin star restaurant and all you're going to do is set up a picnic cloth, I'd be like, well, no, you need a little bit more than that. Actually, I think you need like 4 walls and a roof would be probably preferable. And you need, like the best kitchen equipment money can buy. You don't have a building. Mm-hmm. From the beginning, I was like, how is there any pushback to you don't have a fucking building? You don't have a place where you can play hockey. That's a prerequisite. That's not being mean. All right? Like, there are people who are like, oh, they don't like hockey there. Blah, blah, blah.
No, they do.
There are lots of people there, and they like hockey.
Austin Matthews.
There are lots of people there, they like hockey. Where should they go and watch it?
Well, and
where should they go and watch it? There's no building.
And Marty Walsh also said, he made a comment. He's like, listen, we got a 4,600 person arena that they're playing in, and it doesn't sell out.
It doesn't?
No.
See, that was the whole thing is, oh, yeah, it's a fucking Metallica concert. So now that bum-ass place doesn't even sell out?
Well, the tickets are pretty expensive. They are.
Why?
Like, you go to I'd rather go see a game in Nashville where the tickets are actually less, I think, than Arizona's. Tampa's, I think, are probably less than Arizona's. Florida's are definitely less than Arizona's, and they're better teams, better fans.
What are we doing?
Or not better fans support. And it's because Arizona fans haven't been given a chance.
No, I think Arizona hockey fans have been around long enough that they're smart. And even though there are lots of people who, push back and they defend what's going on with this team, I think most hockey fans are speaking with their wallets and their time.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are going, what is this fuckery?
Well,
I'm not going to this random Radio Shack to watch a game.
But the thing here is that Utah has obviously been very, very open about the fact that they've expressed a desire for a team. There have been other, Houston, Kansas City, can name them all. I would imagine that if you're Gary Bettman, the ultimate situation is they get a building and they get the expansion.
Whoa,
and the owners are probably like, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me, because you get that dispersal fee. But here's the thing. After 3 or 4 years of subsidizing the Coyotes, that dispersal fee is less and less and less. The owners want to hold on to that money. They don't want to give it to the Coyotes to keep the team on life support. Now, we keep talking about Ishbia. That guy's he's got the Suns. They brought in Durant. That arena is not retrofit, but to me, that's got to be the only way that team in its current iteration can stay. That's got to be it.
Right. But okay.
And I don't know, I'm not a construction manager, but I do know you can do a lot of renovations over a short period of time.
They just did it though. Like they just did the renovations on the arena and they finished up, and now they don't have the sight lines for hockey. So you're going to ask the city or Matt Ishbia or whoever's going to put up all this money. It's hundreds of millions or tens of millions of dollars. I don't know.
Doors closed.
So
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, we just talked about how billionaires are greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Buy this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why should I buy it? Okay. Well, it's been unstable for a quarter century. Because the games have all been in the middle of fucking nowhere and no one went. What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
For God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Enough. Like, listen, I'd rather the main story be like Clayton Keller's having a crazy season. I wish more people got to see Clayton Keller play in person. I do. And noted Alan Walsh client Sean Dursey. They don't.
Who, by the way, has been very, very good since going to Coyotes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Carcone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And more people would know that if they had a fucking building.
The quote, by the way, from Marty Walsh on the not sellout thing was, this is not the way to run a business. Look at what happened with the Oakland A's moving allegedly to Vegas. Leagues are making sure that teams are investing in their facilities. And in this particular case, we have a 100 seat college arena that doesn't sell out every night.
And by the way, I think he's wrong on that because it's less.
I think it's 47, 49.
Yeah, because of the renovations.
Yeah.
I remember, it's only going to be 3 or 4 years. This is the second season. There's no plans for a building.
Yeah. And that's the frustration right there from the PA. Players want to play in a National Hockey League arena and not in a college arena, and there doesn't seem to be an arena on the horizon for the team. And this also, like Adam, you said that ideally they get an arena and then the expansion in Utah, and I think that's got to be the perfect scenario, because once you get into this legal battle that's going to ensue with Murillo and the other owners of the league, you're forcing somebody to move their team, which is going to be a sticky situation.
And sell the team.
If he doesn't want to be the owner in this other market, So there's a whole legal battle that's going to have to go on. And I think ideally they don't like to avoid that. Yeah. I think ideally they get an arena and you stay in Arizona and you get expansions. But
I think there are ways that the NHL can force a sale. It would be a long process. But the thing is that if that team's going to Utah, the owner of the Jazz is going to own them. Like, he's not He's not going to be like, oh, I'll share ownership with you guys. No, he's going to be like, that's my team. And I'm willing. He so wants a team that he's willing to put up $1 billion to expand. And here's the problem for the NHL. If they move it to his thing, they don't get the expansion fee, but the owners can stop subsidizing the Coyotes pretty much right away, which is good. You don't want to have a drag on your resources. The problem is
the Smith Entertainment Group, Ryan Smith.
The problem that they would have then is if you want to get back into Arizona, especially the Phoenix metro area, because it has the 5th or 6th largest population in the United States, right? Mm-hmm. And you still have to watch Suns games over an antenna, which is crazy to me. The issue is finding somebody who's got an arena and the money. And that is like, once you move that team, you're probably 5 to 10 years, I think, before a team goes back.
Maddie, can you clip this and just save it for future use?
Well, because on our very first episode of the SDP, we were talking about this.
Yeah. Can you just
first
clip this and play this every time we have to talk about this frigging team?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So the Coyotes are in the news again. Oh, Maddie, hit play. And then I'll go get a coffee. I'll go get it. They don't have a building beginning, middle, end. Holy fuck.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's an interesting conversation to be had because the president of the NHLPA is speaking on behalf of the players, and now we're hearing pushback from them. It's not just the fans and the media people reacting to the situation. Now the actual NHL players are speaking through their representative that they are unhappy with the situation. So it's going to be fascinating to watch it develop.
The big story there is not Coyotes are completely a non-option for anything. It's NHLPA director does things. Mm-hmm. Like, man, I really didn't think I would like this guy. But even if the bar Donald Fear left him was on the floor, he's hopped over it pretty good.
What did Donald Fear do?
Nothing.
Like, what did he, honestly?
Got paid regularly?
Nothing is right. Like, he got paid. But, like, what did you do?
Wind sprinted away from reporters. That was good.
Yeah. Like,
or no. What was that thing he did? It was in Toronto, and wasn't it like other members of the NHLPA wait, and then they had questions for him, and he bailed on them to go and talk to reporters.
That was I think that might have been, there was some sort of, isn't there like a State of the Union with All-Star? Yeah, some sort of thing.
It's a couple years ago.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if that's publicly as known, but it's a famous story that makes its rounds. So anyway, I don't know. It's the other thing we should talk about is the LA Kings fired Todd McLellan.
Oh man,
didn't get a chance to break that down over the thing. They have hired DJ Smith on as an assistant. Jim Hiller, another former Leafs assistant, will be the interim head coach. And I was reading a little bit about this because Eric Stevens obviously did Eric Stevens of The Athletic did the first sort of Todd McLellan has been fired. Here was the record, whatever. But then he talked about in a follow-up piece what the Pierre Luc-Dubois move had an effect on this roster. First off, they had to move Sean Durzi because he was a restricted free agent. They couldn't afford to keep him if they're going to bring in PLD. Mm-hmm. Then to bring in PLD, you got to get rid of Gabe Vilardi and Alex Iafallo. And
two good players.
All three of those guys would have been options for Todd McLellan to use up and down the lineup had they needed it. And obviously, Dubois and Kevin Fiala have not really meshed, and you've got Victor Arvidsson out for the year. And, Todd McLellan, yes, he rode Cam Talbot a little too much and doesn't want to play Phoenix Copley all that much until he tore his ACL. But Phoenix Copley had a good year last year. I wonder how much of this lands on Rob Blake.
We did this.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. We did. But I just think
we did do this.
I'm just looking at this and I'm going, man, like I didn't realize how limited they were. after those trades.
No, I said this with Sid Sixero on the Friday panel, but I think a lot of this falls on Rob Blake not giving Todd McLellan the right pieces in the way he coaches. I think a lot of this has to fall on the GM, and he got a coach who wants 200-foot players, and what he provided him was a limited roster who right now he's running his horses out way too much. Doughty's playing too many minutes for his age and what he's doing right now, and the pieces aren't there for the contender that we thought they'd be. We thought it'd be another step. You lose back-to-back playoffs to the Oilers. Eventually, you're like, okay, let's get into the second round this year. We're gonna have a great regular season, and midway through, everything's falling apart. And I don't think that's on the coach. I think that's a lot of roster construction.
It's on roster construction. I was about to go off about that trade because I actually kind of liked it for the Jets. Like when it happened, I was like, I didn't think they would do this well. But I'm looking at the Kings last year. Velarde had 23 goals. Yes, it was in 63 games, so he scored at a higher clip. Iafallo had 14 goals. Yes, it was in 59 games, so it's at a bit of a higher clip. But that's 37 goals. And I look at that, and I look at the money I'm giving Pierre Luc-Dubois, and I look at the assignments Pierre Luc-Dubois is going to be getting because he's on the Kings. And I'm going, he replaces that. It'll be fine. He'll be able to replace that production.
Mm-hmm.
Or at very least, like let's say, because of pace or whatever, those guys are, that's 45 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can replace that with Dubois and a couple of the guys who I'm going to have to call up or sign. Dude's is he at 20 points yet?
Yeah.
Is he at 20? Like, listen. We always allude to the conversation and make fun of it. Like, William Nylander was talked about all the time because he's a pending unrestricted free agent. And we laugh because we go, where is this for Elias Pettersson? Where is this for Sam Reinhart? Right?
Yeah.
This dude's getting paid big boy money. He's getting big boy pants money. No diaper baby money. And what's he done? Like, I'm trying to, here it is. 48 games, 10 goals, 10 assists. Boo.
Yeah, and
He's scoring he's scoring at a lower clip than Max Domi.
Yeah, that's on the GM for saying, you know what, that's going to be the guy who's going to replace all this goal scoring. Pierre Luc Dubois has never had a 30-goal season in his life.
No, but he had 27. He had 20.
He's never had what I said is true.
No, I know.
He got close.
No. Like what? Close. Sorry. The reason I said no is I think it was a good bet based on last year's production. He's never scored 30 goals. He's about to. And he's never gotten more than
63
points. How dare you?
63. Okay.
63.
That makes a huge
But he's going to. And last year, he only played 73 games. So I think that's at least a 30-goal pace. You're looking at nearly 70 points. I think career season from Pierre-Luc Dubois with Kopitar, with Deneau, with the other weapons that the Kings have, with the D-core that they have. I think it was a reasonable assumption. Dude has failed.
Yes, and so he makes the bet that this guy's gonna have a career year. He's gonna be better than he's ever been because he's never put up those numbers, and he was wrong. And I think Rob Blake deserves criticism for being wrong on his bet.
Oh no, for sure. But I'm trying to put it on the player. You know what I mean?
I think both have to own this.
Both.
He was wrong for the gamble because there was no evidence that Pierre-Luc Dubois was ever going to turn it around. All he's done is been in 2 locations and asked out and given very little effort. So your idea is for this guy who's never done this before and has quit on 2 teams, I'm going to give him a whole bunch of money in a bunch of years. That's poor decision making.
I agree. So here, I know it's plus minus. And it's not really a thing. The Kings have majority of their team is plus players, right? 3 of their minus players aren't on the team anymore because they're in the minors, right? Then you got Jarrett Anderson Dolan. He's a -2. How dare you? Depth guy. Carl Grundstrom, -2. How dare you? Depth guy. Andreas Englund, -5. Depth guy. Alex Laferriere, -6. depth guy. Kevin Fiala, that's tough. -6, and he's played a lot with Pierre Luc-Dubois. Dubois a -16.
Mhm.
How are you -10 worse than the next closest teammate even?
It's not on Dubois that somebody gave him $8.5 million. It is not.
Yes, it is.
The guy said, here's this money. Go be this player. If he's not that player, that's on the guy who gave him the money.
I think that's revisionist. We all thought he had this potential.
Based on what?
We all thought
Based on what?
he's a big asshole who can score at a 30-goal pace, even though he hasn't. There have been lots of players like that, let's be honest. He's still only, I think, 25. Like, there was reason to believe he deserved this contract. Maybe not 8.5. I feel like I remember that being a little rich. But, like, this is an impact player. And on a team with this kind of depth, I thought he'd be a killer. And he is, of the Kings.
Yeah, I think what Pierre-Luc Dubois needs to decide is, are you Josh Anderson or are you the center that everybody projected you would be? Because, Josh Anderson, to me, is the one that most similarly mirrors this. Anderson had really one great dominant year with Columbus. Some injuries, I get that.
28 goals.
28 goals.
The 28 goal scoring, 30 goal scorer.
And I think there was there was threats of sitting out or whatever, because I'm pretty sure Darren Ferris is his agent.
You bet he is.
And that's Darren's move. And so then Bergevin brings him in, and it's like this 6-year contract at $5 million, and everybody's talking about what a great deal that is for the Habs and how they got him at lower than they should have. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. And ask Habs fans about him now. He's very good against the Leafs. When he decides to.
3 or 4 years ago.
And there are going to be players like that. I think I just feel like if Pierre-Luc Dubois, now it's a question of what do you want to be? If I'm not mistaken, before the age of 25, can you not buy out a contract at 1/3 its value?
Ooh, you're not already talking about that.
Wouldn't you be?
Oh,
I want to know what rule that falls into, because there is a rule where at a certain point, like at a youth level, I think it's 25 to 35, it's 2/3, but I believe it below 25, it's 1/3 of its value. So I don't know if that applies to Pierre-Luc Dubois.
If you were to buy out Pierre-Luc Dubois' current contract,
according to CapFriendly.com.
Is it
it's
expensive?
a 14-year buyout.
Oh,
yeah. So buyout cost, what's the cap hit? There we go. The cap hit's along here.
$1.6 million.
It's reasonable, but it's for 14 years. Like, it's $1.6 million for the first year, 1.5, then 2.5, 3.7, 3.8, 3.8, 2.8, 1.1 through the rest of the next 7 years. That's not doable.
I think that's completely doable.
I mean,
that is 1,000% doable.
I mean, if you're Rob Blake, I think you make that buyout.
It's a 1/3.
And then resign
See,
immediately.
if Pierre-Luc Dubois buyout spans 14 years, cost of 15 point, blah, 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 and savings of $31 million. He's 25. Therefore, his buyout ratio is 1-3.
Yes, but it's 14 years.
I know, but they're paying, what's his face? That weird buyout that they got away with? Who was the other guy? The LA has money. What was his name? Richards.
What? Oh, Mike Richards.
Mike Richards is still on that weird buyout as well.
Spend the savings you got from that weird Mike Richards buyout you didn't deserve and buy out this kid.
So I'm not saying you do it this summer, but you could next summer go, if we get more of the same, why are we doing this?
But then does it not turn to 2/3?
It can't.
So Jesse, can you change
when
the
it's signed?
date? Can you change the date on the buyout?
Next summer?
Yeah.
2025?
Like, I don't know if that makes a difference. Let's see. Update results.
Yeah, it's more.
Oh, it is more.
See?
Yeah,
So that's 2/3.
it's
Oh, it
squishes.
just changed.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was based on when the contract signed.
That's so interesting.
Well, I think they got to look at it.
That's so interesting. I think there's zero shot,
Yeah.
but that's so interesting we're even having this conversation. I mean, this is there's a real potential for this conversation to age totally poorly, and he scores 30, 40 goals and, puts up like
Love
a
to
Conn
see it.
Smythe performance. Yeah, but give us any evidence that this exists.
Would absolutely love to see it. Going into the All-Star break before their game on the Wednesday, just to throw this stat out there, before that game where they beat, I believe it was Nashville, and then McLellan got fired after that.
Yes.
From January 1st up until that day, the LA Kings were the second worst team in the National Hockey League, only behind the Chicago Blackhawks.
That's crazy.
By points percentage.
Oh.
And how do you fix that now? You're right up against the cap.
Which means they were the worst Californian team during that stretch. And the other two are the Sharks and Ducks.
We know about the Sharks. They're the real thing.
Everyone's discovering the truth. The Ducks surprised me, but everyone's discovering the truth.
They couldn't have played worse, you know?
I have a question.
Wow.
Is there any use in moving Dubois to the wing?
Try it, man.
I mean, the Leafs he's an $8 million winger. The Leafs have $11 million and $12 million wingers.
At this point, you just got to get him going.
That's what I mean. Like, I mean, I don't want to break up Byfield, Kopitar, Kempe, but don't you have to get this guy?
Next year, the LA Kings better be prepared for the season where Pierre Luc-Dubois is their highest paid forward, because that's going to be the case.
I'm very interested in, remember part of the conversation around DJ Smith is not everyone is meant to be a head coach. Some guys are just really good at being an assistant coach.
So he's a vibes guy.
Well, Jim Hiller was head coach of the LA Kings for about 5 seconds before he got DJ Smith on his staff. And I think that speaks volumes about DJ Smith.
And the vibes he brings.
And the vibe.
Well, and if DJ Smith isn't a structure guy, which we've seen 5 years in Ottawa, he's not, but he is a guy that players would die for.
Vibes.
That could help.
Could help.
A lot of it's in your head. So I don't know. I do want to send out our very best to Jason Spezza as well. The Pittsburgh Penguins, through their Twitter account, announced a statement from Jason Spezza. He said, "On behalf of my family, it is with the heaviest of hearts that I share that my younger brother Matthew passed away due to accidental overdose over the weekend. My family and I are heartbroken and ask for privacy during this difficult time." And what I respect the hell out of on this one is, you know, we've seen a few players enter the assistance program through the NHLPA, and we're starting to you know, I don't know if this is Jason Spezza's goal, but this might be an unintended good consequence, which is saying that no family is immune from this.
Right.
Whether directly or indirectly, most of us will deal with addiction or some sort of issue along those lines throughout our lifetime. Friends, family, friends of friends, family of family. And I think when he does something like this, and I look at Jason Spezza as a future executive leader at the National Hockey League level, whether
Absolutely.
he's a GM or he's a president or something, it shows great leadership and showing that these issues affect everybody. And I think when we were growing up, it was, if you went to rehab, it was like, why can't he just put the bottle away? You know, why can't he simply just stop? And we know now that it's a disease, and society looks at it differently, although they're the holdouts that still can't seem to get their head wrapped around it. I really, really wanted to obviously give him our best, but I also want to say that I totally respect the fact that he came out and was public about this and showed that this can happen to anyone. It doesn't matter how much money you make.
The conversation's totally changed.
Yeah.
And, that is positive, and it's brave of him to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, guys? I think with that, let's do a press conference, shall we?
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
To ask us a question, head over to our Discord server. You can find the link to our Discord server on sdpn.ca. First question comes from Herinator.
Okay.
Herinator writes, Morgan Rielly is playing some really good hockey.
When did you type this?
This was written this morning at 5:26 a.m. actually. So bad timing. Also, why are you up so early?
Yeah, where do you work?
Yeah, what are you, Adam, doing morning radio? Morgan Rielly is playing some really good hockey. How far off is he from making the 2026 Team Canada roster? Who would he have to leapfrog to make the team?
He's in there. He's in the conversation. Well, one of the things we didn't discuss is there were a couple things announced on the hockey side of the Hockey Canada investigation. Now, one of them is the entire team is banned from Canadian
international competition.
Yes. Well, and the 3 teams who are involved all get cap relief from it. And yeah, everyone from that 2018 team is banned until they're not, I guess.
There's going to be an appeals process
Yeah.
for the players who are saying they are not involved. So that I assume by the time we get to the Four Nations, what does they keep
The
calling?
4 Nations it won't apply to because that's an NHL event.
Yes.
But the Olympics are in 2 years.
Yeah,
I
that'll be done by
assume by the time we get to the Olympics in 2 years that you can do an appeals by then. And
I also
Cale Makar will be on the team.
Yeah, I also assume that, but as of right now, he's not on the team.
Yes,
by
but
that
I
rule.
think for this exercise, we should assume that in 2 years that's solved.
I
And-
agree.
Yeah.
So Makar Taves.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the things I've read. Shea Theodore, Dougie Hamilton. Who else is in there? Oh, Evan Bouchard is going to be in the conversation.
Yep.
That's Norris Trophy outside winner chance.
Norris Trophy nominee, he should be this year.
He like there's always the camp invites. At minimum, he'll be at the camp. He might be there. It's fathomable he could be third pair. Might be an extra guy. He'll be in the conversation.
We should build our rosters like leading up to that Four Nations.
Oh yeah, I'm down.
It's hard off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
he'll be in the conversation.
I think that'll be an interesting one. How Team Canada breaks down next winter. This is from Roderick, and I think Adam, you owe Steve for this because this is a question for you, and it says, "How many beers did you buy Steve over All-Star Weekend?
I don't think
How
I
much
bought
did
any.
it cost?" And I think the answer is 0.
I didn't even think I bought you any beers, but I do owe you some beers.
Which
I owe
is
you
a
some
shame
beers.
because I needed more.
You did, yes. Actually, Jesse, can we play a game called "Is Steve Upset About?" And I sent you a text message. Can you bring this up?
Sure.
I don't get upset.
If Steve's upset about this, and I want you to go to it's a 10-second video, and I want you to go to the 6th second of this video. Okay?
Can I play this video?
You can. I think you can. Yeah, you should be able to play it because it's a promo sent out by the Leafs Twitter
Give
account.
me 1 second. Yeah.
What does this have to do with beer?
Just bear with me. Bear with
All
me.
right.
Beer with you.
Okay, so
I'd love to, but you
so
don't
here we
mind.
go. We got Morgan Rielly.
This is Blue Room. Take 1.
Oh, there's music in this.
Oh, so the Leafs have something called Blue Room. Is Steve upset about it?
Did they take that from you?
Yes. Whether Steve's had a Blue Room for 15 years. And Rogers took it too. So that's Sportsnet probably going, "Ha, gotcha."
Oh, yeah. There's no way they didn't know.
I think they didn't know. But
No, there's no way.
yeah, how do you feel about it, Steve?
I do not own the term, the color blue, and having a room that is blue and calling it the Blue Room
In relation to the Maple Leafs?
in relation to the Maple.
It's a little on the nose though, don't you think?
Yep.
Yeah, just a tad. Okay, I think I need to call someone and get the biggest sign made ever. Presented by Rogers, huh? Do you think it's funny how?
I think it's funny how.
Why is that?
Why is that?
You know, they had the Blue Room.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Jesse, continue.
No, I think that's
I mean,
like
I
feel like if it's Rogers, somebody there must have known.
Nah.
I don't think so. That would require people at that executive level to watch the content.
Or even if it's the Leafs. Like if it's just presented by Rogers, but it's the Leafs.
I have a picture in the Blue Room of Morgan Rielly drawing a picture of the Blue Room.
Yeah, I think they must have just took the name
do you-
that you had.
Do you think you'll get an invite to the Blue Room with Morgan Rielly?
No, I don't. I hope I do. That'd be great. I love Morgan Rielly.
Yeah, he's great.
Are you? Should you be mad? You might have cause to be.
I'm
mad.
not.
And here's what the Leafs
I
and Rogers
have
will
never
say.
been mad.
The Leafs and Rogers will say, "Yeah, it's too bad." Simply,
Yeah, they have a habit
there's-
of doing that.
There's nothing you can do, but Steve, you might have to get internet mad today.
yeah. We got to do something funny with this. There's got to be something.
I think.
You gonna do something on the internet, Steve?
Me? Never.
Okay.
You wouldn't get internet mad, would you?
No, never.
No. Okay.
This is from Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Let me know if this grinds your gears. It really bugged me the winnings from the skills competition wasn't donated to Edmonton Hospital or something. Do you think the winnings should have been donated?
No.
No. Wait. I think you're getting mad a little early there, Mike.
Mike W3813.
Yeah, like I don't even. He hasn't even received the money yet. Like, give it a sec. Wait, and give Connor McDavid the opportunity to do something with it. He's on $100 million contract. Obviously, he doesn't need the money. But
guys,
he got what?
What are we fucking talking about?
What
the fuck are we talking about?
Hockey, I think.
I'm so fucking sick of this shit.
Mike asked a question.
Mike, are you kidding me?
Oh.
Mike, I love you. But are you kidding me? Who's wrote the check?
The National Hockey League.
The National Hockey League.
Yeah.
Who's got more money? The guy receiving the money or the guy that wrote the check? I'll give you a short answer on that. It's the guy that wrote the check. If you want to hit somebody up for a charitable donation, then you could feel free to hit up the National Hockey League and its ownership.
Are you saying?
I'm saying let the player with the skill and the talent who won the thing and gets it escrow free and agent fee free. Okay, let him take his fucking money because he put on a great show. And if the NHL wants to do right by this, hey, we're going to give a player $1 million and we'll match it and donate $1 million to a charity of the player's choice. Stop asking these guys. Because Connor McDavid does a ton in the community.
Yes.
He donates his time.
I'd be shocked if he didn't
leader in
donate
Edmonton.
at least some of this.
Okay, I still have an issue with that. If I'm Daryl Cates, take the publicity opportunity and you go and donate it yourself. Let the player keep the money. Let's stop asking the millionaires for what billionaires should be giving freely as a tax write-off, bare minimum. And it's not because it's not really you, Mike, that I'm upset about. I'm upset at the question because this is where it always falls. The onus falls on these guys. People are like, yeah, I'm making X amount of dollars per year, and these guys get to play the game that I pay to play with my friends. And I understand that. And they're getting millions of dollars for it. These guys, they based on every other league in North America, get paid way less proportional to the value that they bring to the league. Mm-hmm. Let this man keep his fucking money. Let the billionaires make the donation. And guess what? It just means it's a tax write-off.
Here, Adam, I want to play a game. Hi, I'm a giant grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to donate $2 to save hungry kids from the... Yeah.
No. Do I get a tax receipt for that? No. Did your profits go up 15% last quarter? Right.
Are you still gouging the general public?
This is what I'm saying. So I understand the question and I understand why he asked that. Connor McDavid does so much in Edmonton for Edmontonians. How about how much has Daryl Cates done? I don't know what the answer to that question is. But how much money is Daryl Cates giving away every year?
I think I wouldn't go on to Daryl Cates.
I would go on to the NHL.
This is an NHL thing.
But Daryl Cates is one of the 32 owners in the NHL.
I agree. But it's that. But to me, it's not him. He's part of it.
It's the Chris Rock bit from years ago. He's like, Shaq is rich. The guy who signed Shaq's check is wealthy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man. This guy earned it.
Except now I think Shaq is wealthy.
Well, Shaq is now
wealthy. Yeah. It's a bit outdated.
It's 20 years
and
ago.
Then he bought Ring Cam and
yeah.
He's doing okay.
But you know what? The point is this. I understand the question. I understand these guys can donate time and money, and they do. I would like to see the NHL do more of that.
Well, why stop there? I think he should play for free.
Right, because he loves the game.
And all the proceeds, and I think the game should be free.
Yeah.
And I think all the food at the game should be free.
The reality is,
I think everything should be free.
If you believe in a society where talent is rewarded above all things, which it's debatable whether we live in that or not. Actually, I don't think it's up for debate. We don't. I believe that talent should be rewarded. This is the best player in the world. He should be paid like it.
Okay, here's my prediction. Connor McDavid earned the money. Mm-hmm. He should spend the money however he wants. My assumption is however he wants will involve charity because that's what makes him feel good and he likes doing good.
And I love that.
I love that.
I love that, man.
Love that for him. I have no doubt he will help people with that money. No doubt. Adam, Adam, are you
coming out of my ears?
Pro or anti-billionaire?
I'm not anti-billionaire even. I'm just anti, we're going to put the onus on Connor McDavid.
Right.
When the guy that owns the team has 100 times his wealth.
Yeah, he makes like what a bench player in the NBA makes.
Connor McDavid will be, let's say his career earnings will be 100 million or 150 million by the time his career is over.
Something like that.
The value that Connor McDavid has brought to the Edmonton Oilers franchise, as in what the crest is worth, is 10x that.
Hockey as a sport.
I know, but think the Oilers, 10x that.
Yeah.
That's what and so the reason that we talk about the Oilers so much, that we put so much expectations on the Oilers, that they are, tonight they're going for 17 straight wins. Why?
Good
Why?
for them.
Big game
Connor
tonight.
fucking David.
They should donate some of the money that they saved getting public funding for their new building.
Steven, now you're speaking my language.
Well, so
And I'm not saying that millionaires shouldn't donate, but I'm just saying, man, let him have his fucking $1 million. He earned it.
You can call me comrade if you want. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
No, I would call the person who accepted public money for their big stadium toy comrade. That is corporate socialism. Sorry, let's move on.
That was the last question.
Okay, well, let's move on to the extra then.
Yeah.
We got a show tomorrow. So we're going to have to save some energy for that. But tomorrow morning, we will know whether or not the Edmonton Oilers have tied an NHL record, 17 wins in a row, I believe held by the Pittsburgh Penguins in 92-93, which was
correct.
A spectacular team featuring two guys you've never heard of, Yager and Lemieux. And a bunch
Vegas
of other guys
is so banged up. I was just checking to see who's in and out tonight, and I think they're still without Eichel, Carrier, Hutton.
Isn't
Edmonton.
that just like a regular Tuesday?
It is. But Edmonton, this is your time.
Does Vegas, I know they got the first class everything, but do they have doctors? That team is perpetually injured and wins anyway.
I think they play a really, really, really rough style of hockey.
Oh, okay. So then it just happens.
It is, I think it is sometimes lost how fucking hard it is to play in the NHL.
Yeah.
Who you guys got?
I think Edmonton's winning. I think they're winning.
Oh, Maddie, hold on.
Mad Dog thinks Edmonton's winning.
What do you think?
I think they're going to tie the NHL record.
Yeah, Maddie.
Steve, what do you think?
I think Vegas would love nothing more than to play spoilers here. I think it ends.
Really?
Ends.
Wow.
I think I'll side with Steve. So we'll be 2v2. Vegas does it tonight. Even though I don't want to pick them because there's so many.
Okay, does the winner bring donuts tomorrow?
And Edmonton's on a roll.
Or sorry, the loser brings donuts tomorrow.
No, man, look at me.
Okay, not
the
donuts.
winner brings orange slices. I'm trying my best.
You're just winning too many bets, Steve.
Apples? Apple slices?
Apple slices. Let's go. I got some apples at home.
All right.
A nice crisp salad.
All right, Steve Dangle and Jesse Blake versus Mad Dog and Adam.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, brand new CJ show out today as well. CJ was in the room for the press conference yesterday with the London PD, so you're absolutely going to want to hear his perspective on it, which will be completely different from ours. And we will see you tomorrow. So much going on
with apples.
With apples.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.